Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Basic Thoughtnomics podcast. I'm your host, Chris Grosso, and for this episode, it's just me again. Going back to the way I did things for the first few episodes, no interview for this one, so it's just me giving my thoughts, opinions, getting some stuff off my chest. And for this episode, I'm going to talk about the WWE Super Showdown pay-per-view from last week and the storylines going forward. And I'm going to talk about the abomination that was the Super Showdown pay-per-view with Goldberg beating Bray Wyatt. And now they're setting it up that Goldberg's going to face Roman Reigns. The Fiend is going to face John Cena, which already happened at WrestleMania 30. And I just hate how they're doing this again, trying to set it up like it's a brand new storyline, like a brand new script. The real wrestling fans already know they fought 5 years ago, and I just hate how they try and brand it like it's something new and innovative and creative when we know it's not that way. But that's a little sidebar. I'll get into that a little later. But I just first wanted to talk about the Goldberg Bray Wyatt abomination that was, and just how stunned and perplexed I was when Goldberg beat Bray Wyatt. And I guess I'll focus first on just how ridiculous and shocked I was that Goldberg won for a few reasons. Because first of all, there was zero build-up to this match whatsoever. I think Goldberg was on Smackdown just 6 days before on that Friday and speared Bray Wyatt. And so that was the only interaction between them before. And I know Goldberg's a part-time guy now, a celebrity, and they've been doing that a lot with these older guys that come back. Undertaker, Goldberg, they kind of just have them show up to the pay-per-view, especially with these Saudi Arabia events. There's no backstory behind it or anything. They just have them wrestle their match, which I don't like at all. And I'm used to there being some build for the match, some storyline in some capacity. So the fact when I saw Goldberg get the 3 count, that was just the fact that there was no storyline or no build-up made it even more shocking to me. And that's just one of the reasons I was totally perplexed and shocked that this happened. Another one is how it's WrestleMania season, and very rarely does the title change hands during WrestleMania season, between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And I know there's a few exceptions for the true wrestling fans that know. The Rock beat Kurt Angle at No Way Out, 2001. I think Bray Wyatt even broke that curse at the Elimination Chamber a couple years ago, 2017. So there are a few exceptions when the title has switched hands, but that part of it also made it even more shocking that Goldberg won. And I also want to rant a little bit about the match because it was just a terrible match. And I'm tired of seeing these matches last 2 minutes that involve Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg. And I don't know if it's due to them being older and they just don't have the endurance, but it's just terrible. I don't understand the logic or the reasoning behind it. It's right out of the gate. Goldberg spear, Brock Lesnar F5. It's just the matches, especially in Brock Lesnar's case, the matches are like a race in a sense. The way I watched wrestling and grew up on it, there was a build to the match, almost a storytelling during the match, and some guy would get the advantage in the beginning, some guy would get the advantage in the middle, and at the end, both guys would kind of do their finishers, a lot of back and forth, but there was some build to the match. And nowadays in these championship matches, which in my opinion, should be the best matches of the night. And the matches that, when you look back on history, are the most memorable. But these, like I said, these matches with Goldberg and Brock Lesnar are squash matches and last 2 minutes. And this one was just a joke, literally. It consisted of Goldberg giving 4 spears. I think Bray Wyatt threw a mandible claw in there. And then Goldberg just, with the most poorly executed jackhammer I've ever seen. He barely could even get him up. And the Bill Goldberg of 1999 will be thoroughly disappointed if he saw the way Bill Goldberg of 2020 executed that jackhammer. And yeah, then Goldberg got the 3 count. And that was that. And just a stunner. And now I'm just wondering where WWE goes from here. And obviously, we know where they're going with these 2 specific wrestlers in these matches. And Goldberg and Bray Wyatt. They're setting up Goldberg versus Roman Reigns, which is just a terrible idea. Terrible. The fans hate both these guys. It's I don't know. It's mind-boggling. And are they even going to be able to put on a good match? Like I said, Goldberg's matches last... The one with Bray Wyatt lasted 2 minutes. Most of his matches probably last 10 minutes or less. He can't do anything. It's just spear, jackhammer. I don't know, maybe give some shoulder blocks. To be honest, I really haven't watched his few other matches prior to the Super Showdown one a couple days ago. I know he fought The Undertaker in another Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. I heard that match was absolutely brutal. Terrible. So I don't envision he had much more in his move repertoire for that one. But I'm also thinking, how is this match going to go with Goldberg and Roman Reigns? And we all know Roman Reigns is going to win. And that's, I guess, now why I understand that they put the title on Goldberg strictly for this 1 month kind of storyline. But it's just embarrassing. He's at 53 years of age, or however old he is. And I'm not condemning him. He's just an older guy. He can't execute and perform moves the way he used to. And I'm all for the nostalgia act. I loved the old school wrestling, the way things were in the Attitude Era. But so I get the rationale by bringing Goldberg back, but it's kind of just embarrassing because he can't really perform in the ring. And that's kind of my thoughts on the whole Goldberg Roman Reigns match that's going to take place at WrestleMania. And then going back to John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Like I said, they already did this at WrestleMania 30, and I just hate how they're, like I said, branding this as something new, innovative. It's, I don't know. Maybe I just have really good memory. Maybe some fans kind of forget about that, but that's just another thing that drives me crazy is WWE, they always reverting back to doing storylines over again and having wrestlers have a rivalry again. And I just hate when they do that. I guess maybe they kind of run out of ideas. They run out of superstars for each of them, for each superstar to have rivalries with. Sorry. But yeah, just another thing I wanted to get off my chest. I wish the writers, the creative department could be more creative in a sense and find wrestlers to have different rivalries. And yeah, then that's kind of my thought on that. I know a lot of people are disappointed in how Bray Wyatt lost, how he looked like this unstoppable character. He won every match as The Fiend. I really don't get too wrapped up in that. I think that's for the, I don't know, quote-unquote marks out there. I'm not sure if I'm using that phrase correctly that takes stuff like that serious, but I didn't really get too wrapped up in that. with this particular storyline with Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, I'm more just thinking I hate how they're doing this again, going down the same road with him and Cena. So those are my thoughts on, I guess, these two specific matches involving these four superstars in particular. And my last couple of observations and thoughts for this podcast episode. I just wonder what the environment, what the culture's like in these WWE locker rooms when we see these part-timers like Goldberg and Brock Lesnar being the title holders, especially when there's guys that are busting their ass and performing on the road, doing all these international events 300 days out of the year. And I'd imagine they'd be pretty pissed off. And that's not to say I like the current personnel on the roster. I really don't like most of them. I don't think many of them have charisma or personality. But at the same time, they are the guys that we're provided with. So I'm also just thinking, what is their outlook on this? And I'd love to hear listeners' comments, thoughts, opinions on that. And I'm also wondering, in regards to like the part-timers, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, we see them make these sporadic appearances, more in the case of Goldberg and Undertaker. But I'm just thinking, what is the motivation for them to do this? And it's got to be strictly financially motivating. And I just think, are they driven or motivated to entertain the audience, or do they feel rewarded or fulfilled by this? And I would imagine at this stage in their life and their career, they're not, especially when you see some of the matches they're having. So yeah, I'm just curious what other people think on that, and love to hear your opinion on that. And yeah, that'll pretty much wrap things up for this episode. It's a abbreviated episode, a short one, but just wanted to get my thoughts and my opinions off my chest for that. And I was thinking, what am I going to do for my next episode? I've had some trouble booking a guest, and then it kind of just hit me. This is something I'm passionate about and have a strong opinion about, so I should put some content out there. And some content's better than nothing. But yeah, thanks guys so much for listening. Love to hear the feedback. I assume it's going to be from wrestling fans for this particular episode. But yeah, love to hear your thoughts, opinions, comments on some of the things I talked about. Also on the podcast in general, how you think it's going. And follow me on social platforms. My personal Instagram, Twitter handles at ChrisGrosso16, and also made a podcast Instagram and Twitter page. At Instagram, it's at Basic Thoughts Pod. On Twitter, it's at Basic Thought Pod. Don't use it too much, but follow me anyway if you're interested. But thanks, guys, so much for listening, and hope you have a great rest of your week.